Welcome, everyone. We are so glad that you guys are here. We are talking all about today hiring tutors and scaling your tutoring business. And today we've got tutors in the house right now who are doing exactly that. And we're really excited to share with you how can you go about starting to do that and how can you scale and grow your online tutoring business as well. I want to personally welcome. We've got Michael Gibbon here, and Michael and I have been personally connecting and collaborating and doing some great things for tutors, and it's been awesome to be able to network with him. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, Michael.
Sure thing. So I'm a private tutor. I work with grades 1, 2, and 3 in mathematics, and I have a couple grade 8 students too I've worked with for several years, and it's been really amazing. And I also work with other private tutors and tutor company owners to help them with some of those key communication skills to help them with scaling their businesses as well as launching.
I love it. And you particularly had your own business where you had under other tutors underneath you, and it was for an in-person tutoring business that you had started a few years ago. And you have so much value to offer on this topic. So I appreciate you sharing what you know and sharing it with other people so that they can skip that line of learning, that learning curve, right? They can skip that learning curve and they can get success faster. I love it.
Well, thanks, Joanne. It's been a pleasure to work with everybody and just continue to see the growth in everybody's businesses. It's great.
I agree. And we got Daniela here, and Daniela's been a part of our community. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been quite a long time, a few years at least, that Daniela's been a part of our community, and she's going to share a little bit about who she is.
Yes, hello everyone. So yes, my name is Daniela, and my company's name is Accelerate Tutoring, and our main niche is reading for elementary and middle school. So I'm so happy to be here. And yes, it's been a while, Joanne, like since 2020. So yeah,
Yeah,
a couple of
yeah,
years.
I know. We're almost in 23. Can you believe it, guys?
Yes.
What? That's crazy. And we've got Dory here as well. Dory, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me. I am located in Toronto, Canada, and I am a math tutor. Yeah. I teach or I tutor math from about grade 8, 9 up to grade 12, including all that algebra and calculus stuff. The hard stuff that most people don't like. I've been tutoring part-time for a number of years and full-time online since the pandemic. And yeah, recently started growing my business by trying to hire tutors.
I love it. That is so awesome. And I was just chatting with you yesterday because actually Dory is on our panel for Impact 3 and she was sharing her experience with how she has been able to go from working from other tutoring companies to not only owning her own tutoring company but hiring other tutors. And it's that is such a cool experience to be able to have. And so let's talk about real quick before you decided to hire other tutors. Where were you at specifically with your business? We'll start with Daniela.
Sure, yes. So in my case, I have been tutoring for over 10 years, but a big chunk of those years was mostly in person and, driving to people's homes. It was not really like a proper business. It was just, doing it in my own way. And then when I found you and I was able to learn and go through Jumpstart, that's when I really said, okay, this is and I started to do that since 2020. And then I started growing. It took a while in the beginning, putting all those things that we learned from you, all the strategies. But then it finally started happening. Like students, were reaching, families were calling me, and I started growing. And then I noticed for like this recent past year, it started to be more steady and like more phone calls. I found that Google My Business was working great and people were finding me there, you know, a lot of the people who reached out. So it was like kind of like coming steady. And then my schedule got fully booked. I couldn't take any more. And then I said, what do I do next? You know, so people want to do group tutoring, but I really enjoy one-on-one. I really see the value of the one-on-one for now. Maybe in the future it might change, but I was saying the one-on-one really is where I think this my sweet spot is, right? So I said,
Yeah.
what can I do? And then I started to think about hiring other tutors. And it happened that right at that moment, you and Michael started talking about it. And I said, wow, this is a great opportunity. Literally, like the night when I said, I'm going to go for it. I know I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. But
Yeah.
I went on my email and there was an email from you saying that was the deadline, the night to register for one of the classes. So it worked out perfectly. And I've learned so much from
Aw.
you, from Michael, from Dory, you know, the people in the class. It's been really just great to know that I'm not alone. Just like in
Yes.
Jumpstart, we were able to get so much from that. Like it's been the same way here. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah. I love that. That's so exciting. And that's our goal too, is to support you in every part of your journey inside of your business, wherever you're at. I love that you became book salad. You had a problem now. It was a new problem. It was a great problem, right? So many
Yeah.
people who are just getting started, they're just like, well, I would love to be able to get booked solid, and then their dream kind of ends right there. But you're like, no, I have a new problem, and I know that I can have a solution to this. And so, what if I start hiring other tutors? And you started exploring other ideas like, do I do group classes? Do I hire other tutors? Because those are all options. They're all valid options. And if you're like me and Daniela, I don't really like the group classes as much as I like the one-on-one as well. And so it definitely comes down to preference. Then how do you scale, right? And what are you going to do? And adding other tutors to your business definitely makes sense as a next step. Dory, tell us about, like, where were you at with your business right before you decided to begin hiring tutors?
It's scary how much my experience echoes Daniela's, where she could have been speaking for me. So similar. So before I was, in person, running around doing all that, took Jumpstart when COVID hit. And I also had a one-on-one session with Michael. So both Joanne and Michael, both of you, like, were right there to, like, you were my saviors when I decided to make it my own business. And I put all those little pieces in place, like all the advice that both of you had for me. And, slowly started building it. And then, over the summer, I was thinking I wasn't in Ontario. I was going to be slow getting back. And I was preparing myself. I don't have any time to advertise. I don't have any time to, like, do anything to try to, in September, when the school year starts, to let people know I'm here. But the biggest surprise of my life, I had already had all those pieces in places, and I started getting requests without doing
Mm.
anything. And all my old students came back, and I started getting all these new inquiries, and my schedule filled up so quickly that at the around mid end of October, I looked at how many sorry, I'm tongue tied. I looked at how many sessions I had, and I would say maxed out for me is around 20 hours a week, just with the other things in my life. And I was at 27 hours, and I had requests for 5 more sessions, and in the evening hours, and I had no slots to put them in. And
Yeah.
I was just like, what am I going to do? And Joanne and Michael, to the rescue again. You both went and posted this leadership course and how to hire tutors. And I was like, yes, sign me up. This is what I need.
Yeah,
So
because I think that's a big part is, like, the first thing we're like, well, yes, we need other tutors, but then how do we go about that process, right? And I think that's like the difficult thing. And I know, Michael, you've walked through this journey as well. What was the journey like for you when you were starting to hire tutors, and how did you learn the things that you know?
A lot of it was just trial by fire, and when I started, I had the idea of, the contract, some of the questions to ask. But I know I made a lot of mistakes when I started, a lot of those things from the 7 hiring mistakes. I was quick to hire, quick to rush in and get people. I was trying to just fill as many student needs as possible. I wasn't taking my time to develop a very fully fleshed piece of guidelines, so my tutors knew the steps of what to do. And yeah, there was some turnover at the beginning because I really didn't have the proper pieces aligned. So after, again, a lot of trial and error and learning, I was like, well, now that this has happened and it was over 8 years, I was able to build up that team, obviously, continue to learn and grow. But I was like, I'm ready to, pay this forward and start sharing this, because this is something that I feel is comfortable and I can provide to people who really are ready to scale and ready to take that opportunity to go to that next level. And so, yeah, again, a lot of learning and a lot of, oops moments, and just growing from them and pivoting.
Yeah. And that's how I started my tutoring business too. In the beginning, I got these pieces up and going, and it was I was taking some of these different trainings online, here and there sporadically. And it's you learn things slowly over time, but then we get somebody who's in the industry, you guys, and it's it makes a whole world of difference. Now everything makes sense just for you. Not just scaling a business, right? Because anybody could talk about scaling a business. But when we talk about scaling a tutor business, specifically with hiring other tutors, and you get to learn that information from another tutor who's been there and done that, you are going to get to skip the line. And that's what this is all about. We want to help you guys get success and get results a lot faster. So I'd love to know, what are some of the tips and things that you guys learned that really stood out for you, Daniela and Dory, about hiring tutors?
I'll go. So actually, I don't think either one of you guys know this, but before I joined the course, I tried to hire a tutor on my own, and I hired them and fired them in the same week. But it was my fault. It was because I was doing everything. I hired the wrong person. I didn't set the right expectations. I didn't know what I was doing, because it's a shift in mindset. I've gotten really good. I've become good at tutoring and running my own business, but hiring somebody else and, getting them on board to how I run my business is a whole other idea. And I have no idea. So some of the things that you guys taught me were not even on my radar, things that I hadn't even thought of, things that I was overworking. Everyone I spoke to, I was recreating the wheel, and you taught us how to, get a training manual in place, get training videos in place. Now I don't have to do that every single time. I already have it there as a package ready. So I know if I onboard the next tutor, I've got everything ready to go. Here's the contract. Here's the training manual. Here's what you need. Here are the videos you need to get up and running. And it'll just be so much smoother than what I was doing on my own.
Yeah, getting all those pieces in place, putting those processes in place so that you can have a successful business is key to any business. And now you have here's exactly the step by step that I need to do, and here's how I can provide something really awesome for my tutors. I love it. That is amazing. How about for
Yes.
you, Daniela? What were some of the things that you were able to
Yes.
take?
So the same as Dory, all the things she said, I repeat that. But yes, basically, yeah, knowing that you have all those pieces in place, and then also the tips that you gave us as far as when we're interviewing people, what are some of those things to look for, like red flags, right? That I didn't even think about that. So that was very helpful. And one of the biggest things really was that I think I was just really inspired, because again, when I started thinking about this, I was just thinking, okay, let me hire tutors and see, how I can get these students. But at the same time, going through this course made me think beyond just saying, okay, let's hire people. It became like, Michael, when you were sharing about really creating an atmosphere of a team, creating the atmosphere that you're really helping everybody to be the best selves, because we all bring something different to the table. We're not going to be able to make a copy of ourselves, even though we have our core values and the things that we're looking for. The people that come to us, right, they might think it's just like a little side thing that they're doing, but it could be more if we actually foster that environment. And, you kind of gave us great ideas of how to do that, because that's kind of like what I really want to do now. I don't want to just be, okay, a person that hires people, but to really have like, accelerate tutoring, to live to, I always add like, beyond academics, to kind of really live up to that name that, we can really be more and help the families and the people who are joining, that they can also be encouraged themselves to be their best tutor selves that they can be. So that was something that I didn't even think about before I joined the class, but that you've all inspired me. So it's been great.
Yeah. And I would say, like, I really appreciate the opportunity that Michael provided for everyone to have conversations about, like, whenever there, difficult situations with hiring tutors or even letting go tutors over time. Like, how do you go about that process? And he had all these different situations that we could go on through to be able to really explore, dive deeper, and as really work as a mastermind together in like how could we handle that particular situation if it does occur. And a lot of the situations that you provided, Michael, were real situations that happened to you at some point in time, and you're able to share your wisdom on how you went about it and handled it and all that kind of stuff. How did you come up with those scenarios of situations?
Just drawing back on 8 years of having a team, and just the the good and the bad and the occasional ugly, and just kind of
Yeah.
filter those different situations and seeing what were the most common ones that I could relay to everybody here. And just, but as well, like I've learned a lot from everybody else as well. Like this has been a great collaboration too, to just hear from other people where they are and what you're deciding to do. And the fact that, Daniela and Dory, you're doing this so early on in your scaling and your hiring, that's impressive, that you're doing that
Yeah.
right away, and you're jumping in, you're deciding, okay, I need to let someone go when this happens, or I'm going to live up to my company name. You're infusing that belief already. That's really amazing to watch, and
Yeah.
keep.
That's what I was gonna say too. Like watching you guys go through the course has been so fun because like you guys are like sponges. You're like, all right, bring it. It's like you guys are like the type of people that like you can take an infinite amount of information and it just like you take it all in, and then you start seeing like where you can apply it. Where does this fit with my business? And you're very strategic, and it's like putting a puzzle together, right? Like you know where the pieces are now, you know what those pieces are, because before we didn't even know what the pieces are, because we all get to make the decisions for our own tutoring business, like how do we want this to work or how do we want that to work or what kind of trainings are we going to provide. Like it's not going to be the same answer for every single tutoring business and what that's going to look like, right? But you guys were able to take all of those pieces and then create your own puzzle based off of that is a perfect fit for each of you guys. So I think it's been so cool to be able to watch that. And I know each of you guys now actually has tutors on your team. So tell us about that experience and where you're at with that. We'll start with Dory.
Okay. Yeah, well, I want to add one other thing that Danielle mentioned. She was saying that how inspired she was at how to not just hire tutors, but how to grow the business. And that was something that really stood out for me as well. Before, when I was trying to, my schedule was so busy and I was trying to decide what to do, and I thought about hiring tutors. I didn't want to just become another agency like the ones that I'd worked for before and, maybe didn't have the best experience with in some areas, although I'm very grateful for them getting me started on my career. And I love that this course showed me that I can provide an experience for my tutors that's so much more than just here's some tutors, you're on your own, go float.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
so incorporating all of that, I feel like I'm not hiring tutors anymore. I feel like I'm reframing it. I'm growing a team. I'm growing my business. I'm growing something bigger than just me, which is amazing. So yeah, I've hired 2 tutors. In fact, during the course, it was only a 4-week course, and during that 4 weeks, I've brought on 2 tutors in niches that overlap with what I'm tutoring. So as I mentioned before, my sweet spot is that grade 9 to 12. And so I've brought on one tutor whose sweet spot is let's say grade 7 to 9, and then the other one who's maybe grade 11 to university. So it's really good because if they're a little bit below where I am, I can let them work with that tutor. And if they need to go beyond me, before I had to say goodbye, but now they can, continue, and still I can still have contact with them. So it's super, super exciting. And I'm really inspired to see how it's going to grow and where it's going to go.
I love it. And I love that you still have a niche. Like you're not getting rid of your niche because that's going to make it easier for you with the whole marketing piece. You're not trying to go on out there and look for now all of a sudden students looking for Spanish tutoring or all those kinds of things, right? You're still niching into what it is that you do, which is math tutoring. And I think that is so pivotal. And I absolutely love that you're doing that. And you're like, okay, like how can I continue to serve people that need the help and need the services that I have to offer, not just filling it in for anything that comes your way and taking everything that you possibly can. I think that like helps you like align your mission and your vision with your business, right? Like this is who we're here to serve. Here's who we're here to help. And if you're ever having struggles with math, you definitely want to take a look at this. And I love that you are building a team. This isn't just tutors that are working for you and you're making a cut, right? And I think that is the big difference between this. Like you're serving these families, you're providing the outlet for the kids to get the learning that they need to be able to get. You're providing tutors with job opportunities that they may not have been able to get, or a starting point for them. Or we're really changing the industry of tutoring in a way. When I first got started, it was you worked for Sylvan. Like everybody was going in my area to work for Sylvan, and I refused to go that route because I was like, I'm not going to get paid $15 an hour, right? And then have them make $150 an hour because they're charging $50 per family and giving me 3 kids. I was just like, that doesn't seem right? And that's not the kind of business that you're building. You're building something where you are providing professional development for your tutors that are on your team. You're acting as a team. You're collaborating together. It's about value. And you talked a lot about this, Michael, as we went through the course, that look, this isn't about the pricing, this is about the value. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Like in terms of like when you're hiring your tutors, I found that was a big piece. That when I started, I was concerned about, okay, well, how much am I going to pay the tutor? And great, okay, I'll pay them this amount, I'll make that amount, and I'll help. But I still, I think there was a disconnect,
Hmm.
because that's what I saw from some of my own experiences, not with all the tutoring companies I worked for, but some of the other ones previously. There was a disconnect, the owner, manager, then the tutors.
Hmm.
And I realized after about a year or two, I was like, this model, something's missing in this model. There's something that's causing tutors to maybe want to vacate after a few months, or is causing, I don't know, something was missing. I just felt there was an emptiness within the company and a disconnect with my team. And I was like, I wasn't even calling them a team yet. They were they were the tutors. And I realized I have to shift my mindset, because if we can go to a team mindset, that's going to make a difference. And so that's when I sat down and really looked at, okay, what can we do together to still keep the independent contractor, keep that whole piece there, but make it something that's going to want the tutors to stay long term and think beyond just the numbers.
Yeah.
Some tutors, they are in it just for some side cash, and that's their prerogative. But it's becoming more and more, I think, recognized as a really key force in the education profession.
Hmm.
And a lot of tutors are really wanting that development and that camaraderie, because it can also be a very lonely profession, tutoring
Yes.
at times. So that's what it was like. That was a mind shift for me. I was like, all right, what kind of value can I add? And I was like, okay, well, we can start having get-togethers a couple times a year to celebrate each other's achievements. We can start to do, award, or we could start to do, some sort of like professional development, start taking on your tutors to become lead tutors. And so starting to bring in those different roles, and also just giving the tutors a chance to also provide feedback to me on how they feel. I am Success Tutoring is running, and just getting their thoughts and their feedback on things they like and things they'd like adjusted, and having that open space and that open voice, and
Yeah.
letting go of the fear of, oh, I have to be the perfect manager, a perfect leader, a perfect, head of the company. It's like, no, once you shed yourself of trying to be perfect, you allow those imperfections to shine, and those become your greatest strengths.
Yeah.
Is be vulnerable with your team, let them, and be authentic with your team. It really makes a difference.
I love that. I love that. And this is a relationship building business, right? And so it's no different with our tutors as well, that if we're hiring other tutors to work with us, not for us, right? We're
Mhm.
hiring them to work with us so that we can provide those services to kids. And if we take their needs into consideration and we get their feedback on how things are going and what things need to change, we get to grow and prosper from that entire experience, right? We get to grow in our mindset. We get to grow in, you know, hearing tough things because sometimes people don't say nice things, and we got to learn how to kind of build that thick skin. Like, how can I do that? And how can I listen to people so I can hear what it is that they are saying, but not take it personally so that I can't make forward progress and improve on what it is that I'm doing. And I'm not sure that there's a lot of tutoring companies that are out there that are doing that, and I think that this can set us high above all the others. Now, Daniela, I know you started hiring some tutors. Tell us about your experience with that.
Yes, sure. So I think Dory and I are like, I don't know, twins, right? I was saying I'm her Hispanic twin right here in New York because I also have two tutors that I hired, in the during the time that we were going through the course. And in the beginning, I was wondering, should I start hiring like, older or like for math? Because again, I have tutor and I still tutor students in math as well, even though I'm promoting more of the reading. But then I realized that what I can really train someone and create videos for with some sort of expertise is really for reading. So I said, I'm going to focus on that for now. And in that way, I will be comfortable. I can make the videos, I can start sharing that with the tutors that I hire. And then eventually I can start moving, a little bit more towards the math or, focus on other areas. But then I heard you say during the course that was good, that like stay with your niche. So I was like, okay, that's good. And yes, and so I found a couple of tutors, and it's been great to just be able to do that, to be able to share with them the things that are giving me great results with reading, and to be able to say, this is here, and I want to show you that. And of course, they're contractors, so they have the freedom to do, but just to be able to kind of show them, right, like show them different ways, give them options, share with them resources that have been awesome for me. And it's going great. And I'm excited. Like I can't believe that, again, it's been 2 years, that almost 3, but it went so fast that I just can't believe it. Like, oh my goodness, I have people working with me. Like you mentioned, it could be so lonely. And when I started doing this about 10 years ago, it really was super lonely. Like no one was
Yeah,
doing that. And people were looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you left the teaching job and you're tutoring? Like, what's wrong with you?
I know.
And so it's been so great to be able to see that you really can make it, you're living, and like, I love it. I'm passionate about one-on-one. And when I was in the classroom, I felt like that's what I wanted to do. So to be able to be doing that and then have other people join you, it's amazing. So yeah, it's
Yeah, oh
great.
my gosh. I couldn't agree with you further when it comes to that. Like, I was a little nervous to start telling people that I was tutoring now. Like, it was like a step below me because I, had gone to school to become a reading specialist and all of that. But when you can shed all of those labels, right?
Mhm.
I feel like there's a freedom in it, that it doesn't matter what I do as long as I am helping the students that are coming my way, and I'm helping them in a way that also aligns with my highest self. Right, because my highest self loves to be able to work with kids one on one. I am not the type of person that enjoys classroom management. It gave me a lot of stress. It gave me a lot of anxiety, and that just is not a good lifestyle for me if I want to take care of my own health. And so, for me, like, I felt that was my sweet spot, and that's what I needed to continue to do. A lot of conversation opened up about employee versus independent contractors. So lots of people were like, okay, so how do I actually hire tutors without them being considered an employee? And, here's the truth, guys. It is going to change based off of the state that you live and the country that you live, uh, when it comes to those kinds of rules. So you have to do your due diligence, and you have to take a look and see what is my area expecting of me, but we did come up with some basic overall, like, they're recurring themes, like, that you need to take into consideration. What were some of the things that you learned with, employee versus independent contractor? Michael, feel free to jump on this one as well.
Sure thing. So I think the biggest thing for independent contractor versus employee, again, not a lawyer or a government agent, obviously, but what I found what is important is make sure to give as much autonomy as possible to the tutors in terms of scheduling, in terms of materials used, in terms of the process that they follow, in terms of keep that as independent as possible. And keep and like you said, anything with professional development, keep it optional. Make sure again that keep as much of these pieces of being a team, keep it within the umbrella of giving them a lot of independence and keeping it as something that they can choose to do versus they have to do it. Because when you're an employee, oftentimes it's a mandatory thing, it's compulsory. So yeah, just making sure that you have that piece figured out. But again, it depends, like Joanne said, on your country or state, province, country, and the rules are always going to be in flux, potentially in flux.
Yeah. What were some things that you guys were able to take, Dory and Daniela?
Yeah, so I found myself asking like a lot of that all the time, like how do I stay, but this helped, but Michael just shared because I was thinking about like the programs, right? The same way, like when I'm creating these training videos, like is it okay to, share with them that I use reading A to Z? And then, we spoke about the fact that yes, you can have those as let's say like a folder with different resources they're able to use, but they don't have to, right? So that was great. That was big for me because up to that point, again, I had no idea of anything related to hiring people. So everything really was helpful. And also I remember we spoke about even the tools that they use, right? Like in the sense of I use a document camera, I use different tools, but you can't really require that of the tutor. You can share what you're doing, what has been helpful to you, right? Because again, we're doing reading, we're being able to show handwriting. So I can share that and even suggest some of the things, right? Like have a folder with all of that when I am hiring, when I am going through the interview process, but it doesn't have to be like you said, mandatory. You have to use it like this. So in that way, it does give them freedom. And I found that was something that they received really positively when I went with these two tutors and I share that information. They, you can see that they're at ease. It's not like you have to do this. They know like, okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And, most of them have gone and have used a lot of the things that I share with them because they really are great, but they don't have to, if they have learned a different way, then that's fine as long as, brings the results. So that has been
Which kind of reminds me of that whole like micromanaging thing, right? Like that's where you're going to get into a lot of trouble. If you're the type of person who's going to micromanage your tutors, you're probably going to get yourself in a lot of trouble if you're trying to like tape every single session that's happening and you want to keep a close eye on people. Nobody likes to be micromanaged. They don't like to feel like they're being watched. They like to feel like they're being trusted. And so the more independence that we can give them as they come on board and say, hey, here are the resources, they have to still purchase. Like if they want to use a document camera, they're going to have to purchase that for themselves to use. It's not like we're going to send them a box kit of stuff that here's all the stuff you're going to use. Here's the computer you're going to use. Here's the, document camera you're going to use. Here's the Wacom board you're going to use. No, we're not doing any of that kind of stuff, right? They're
Oh,
choosing all of those
so
resources.
you're not going to give me a computer, Joanne? A new computer?
No, but Black Friday is coming on up. So if you need one, now is the time to shop for your computer. How about for you, Dory? What were some of the things you were able to take away from employee versus independent contractor?
Yeah, one of the blessing. Oops, sorry about that. One of the blessings in disguise, I think, of what you've all been saying is that when we're giving tutors, here's some things that work really well for me, and I want to share it with you. It shifts the dynamic as well. Not only are we protecting that contractor agreement, but now they see you as, oh wow, they're not just paying me, but they're adding value and they're helping me, and I've got a support system. So it actually changes the dynamic for them to make them feel like they're part of the team and like you're rooting for them and you're on their side. So I love the way that you guys, that you helped me to frame that because I wasn't doing that before. Specifically with Contractor versus, some takeaways that I learned is that they need to invoice me at the end of the month. I can't just, pay them a salary or pay them immediately. I need to be invoiced by them. Some little things like that. Another thing that I learned that I was trying to do everything manually. And while I did have some great systems in place for my own business, I'm learning that, there are applications out there and platforms that do a lot of that heavy lifting for me, so that, let's say, the tutor can keep their own schedule. So if there's a tutor login portal and I have a login portal as an admin, it automatically separates a lot of those things for me. So I'm not now telling them you need to work from 6 to 7 and setting their schedule. They can go in and set up that schedule with the families themselves, and that protects me. So I didn't think about those platforms as I knew that the value that they added, but they also add that layer of protection, which is nice to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tutorbird, I know that some of you guys in the audience, you guys have seen Tutorbird. You're moving forward with Tutorbird. It's really really awesome, and it is really great when you begin adding on other tutors to the mix to have that all in one platform. It's that platform that can grow with you at whatever stage you are at inside of your business, whether you are just getting started with your business or you're continuing to move on. And anybody who hasn't tried Tutorbird yet, you get a 3-month subscription. So I'm going to share a little bit more about Tutorbird.
Tutorbird lets you schedule lessons, take attendance, collect payments, and much more, all in one place.
So all you have to do is go to tutorbird.com/Joanne-Kaminsky, and you'll be able to get that 3 months of trying that out and seeing it. Because everybody likes to have that one platform, not have to be messing around with different payment processes and different calendar schedule and all of your student information in one place to streamline all of that inside of your business when you are scaling is going to allow you to be way more organized. A really great friend of mine inside of our community, she was actually doing this all through Excel spreadsheet before, and she was having her daughter do some of the work to just stay on top of all of it. And it literally took away the admin from her daughter uh, by just using Tutorbird at the end of the day. Like all the stuff that was taking her daughter hours and hours and hours every single week to do on paper, they were now able to just do automatically and seamlessly through Tutorbird, which is a really, really great tool. So I'm so glad that they're sponsoring this channel and they are continuing to just add value to so many different tutors' lives. Any tips or advice that you guys have for people that are starting to think about hiring tutors in their business?
So I would say once you start, because you're gonna see, right, like when you are getting more students, you're getting more requests, you start seeing your schedule, like to not wait too late, right? To start taking steps, in faith. Sometimes it does like take somebody to push you a little bit more, and to start putting the pieces into place, to not wait. Because I think I watched another live where you were talking about, should I have the students or should I do the other thing first, like actually go through the processes and create. But I think you can start, like, when you start feeling that and seeing that dream, like dream big, you can really start taking steps and putting things into place, and to reach out to a course like this, which is wonderful. Like Doria was saying, why do you have to go and recreate everything on your own when we have the resources, like people like you who are willing to share that wisdom that you have developed over the years. We can just access that and then make it our own and modify it to whatever we want to create. So like, don't wait too long and just jump into it and take some steps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Daniela said. I think I did wait a little bit too long because I was beyond capacity, and I kept delaying it, thinking one day or when I have the time. So I wish I recognized that earlier and started creating, because now I don't have that anxiety about hiring someone. I've got everything in place. I know what interview questions to ask. If I bring them on, I've got a training manual ready to give them. I've got a contract ready for them to sign. I have all those things in place. And I didn't have that before, when my schedule was over capacity and I had no time to like work to put it together. The other thing is, I was working on my own in my own little shell, trying to recreate everything. And something else this course gave me was guidance and leadership, but also finding, other peas in my pod who are going through the same thing that I was. So collaborating with Daniela and other teammates, even outside of the course, there's other people out there who are working through the same thing as I am. So I was able to bounce ideas off of them and grow from there. And it just made everything so much easier. I would still be way, behind in the process of putting everything together had I not jumped into this course and had somebody just, here you go, hand it all to me, go on your way.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And that's the thing. It's like we don't know what we don't know. And so to go through the processes with a team of people who can just be like, okay, here's the checklist, here's the steps you need to take, let's put them into place and let's go. And we have, Michael, a leadership level 1 and 2. Level 1 is for those tutors that are just getting started in their tutoring business, and it's they are the only one in their business right now. This is perfect fit for them because it's going to be all these different scenarios and conversations around what do you do when different things happen inside of your business so that you can be more strategic inside of your business. And then we have a level 2 as well that is coming on up on like, how do you start building this to hire other tutors and put those pieces into place, and what are the things that you need to think about? And is that December 9th, if I remember correctly?
That's correct. December 9th. That's right.
December 9th. And there's a link inside of the description. So if you're interested in joining us, if you're just a solo tutor and you don't plan on ever adding any tutors, you just need to sign up then for Leadership 1. But if you do plan on, adding to your team and growing your team, then you'll want to sign up for both of them. Anything else that you'd like to add, Michael?
I think it's been summed up perfectly. Let's keep inspiring, keep growing, and keep learning, everyone.
It's awesome. What a beautiful day to celebrate. Woo, 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 woo. We got our balloons. We got it all going on because this is a celebration, you guys, to take tutors from, having their own independent freelance tutoring business to this next level where they are inspiring a team of educators that care about getting results for kids. We are talking next level stuff. So thanks for joining us today, you guys. And thank you, Daniela, Dory, Michael, for joining us today and sharing all of your wisdom about that next step of scaling our business with hiring tutors. You guys are incredible. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And we will see you next week.